As a minimalist, I don't just reduce stuff, but I also try to find ways to save money, just because of the fact that I feel spending less is a good practice in order to just need less. And I want to talk about how you can actually make frugal living more fun. Welcome to today's video. If you're new here, it is so awesome to have you. Consider subscribing if you love videos about minimalism and just getting some motivation for more decluttering and simple lifestyle. If you are a returning subscriber, it is also so awesome that you're back. Okay, frugal living. I got into this actually at a point in my life where I didn't have to be that frugal anymore. A few years ago, I was in really bad shape financially, and it was just a big mess. And the reason why I was in bad shape financially basically was because I wasn't organized. I didn't really keep all my papers for my taxes in order, and I could never find anything. I was late paying bills, and I slipped into this. It's almost like a landslide. It just took on a dynamics of its own, and I lost control. And so just not being organized physically and knowing where to put what and what paperwork and just being organized in a sense of like planning things, it just made everything so much worse and complicated. So actually, I got myself out of that mess and everything was okay, and I started making more money again. I found different ways that are better for me to change my life to where, now I work mostly from home, which is what I need right now at this point of my life, because, I still have my daughter at home. She's 8, and I do want to grow my family still. And this is a season in my life that I don't, as a performing artist, as a professional opera singer, I don't want to be out in the world traveling all over the place. Well, beside the fact that, of course, this year, this hasn't been possible at all anyway, I'm very grateful that I've been able to work from home. But this is just a season where it's really important. I do make more money now, but the more money I make, the more frugal I become. So let me talk about some of the ways that I think frugal living has actually been fun for me. The first thing is always to put relationships over things. I used to think that buying the next gadget, and I'm such a techie, buying the next gadget or buying the next better camera or just buying any device or something for the home. I love making the home beautiful. I always thought that this is going to be the answer and this is going to make me happy. Well, it makes you happy for a day or so, and then it becomes old. You see it when you look at kids. They are so excited about everything they don't have, but once they have it, it's not important anymore. And then they're excited about the next thing that they don't have. They want to have what they don't have, but once they have it, it's not interesting anymore. And we're like kids too. It's a very human thing. But I found that by putting relationships before things, that has really changed my attitude about things a lot. So I spend my time not on going shopping. I would rather spend my time on hanging out with people and inviting a friend over, which of course hasn't been possible that much this year. But even so, even just calling a friend or listening to someone and offering to someone, I have an open ear if you need to talk. That to me is so much more rewarding and more fun than buying a thing and then the next day you feel bad because you spent the money that now you don't have anymore for the real things you actually want. And it's just being more intentional with your resources. And I think instead of spending your time spending money, and then you have to spend more time making that money that you're going to spend that you don't even have yet, it is so much better just to try to minimize the spending and be more intentional and invest in your relationships. One of the most valuable things I've been doing with my daughter is just turning all devices off. And I told her, you have a right to tell me when I'm on my computer too much. I work from home and I work online. And so, but I tell her, you're right. I don't always have an excuse to say, well, but I work online. I make money like that. That's why I have the right to be on my computer all day, but you don't. I tell her honestly, it's like, you're right. If I tell you that you have a limited time to be on your screen devices, then I should have a limited time, because it is important that we put those things aside and actually spend time with each other doing things. And those are the best times. Okay, the next thing kind of adds on to that. And that is, I've been putting experiences over possessions. So not just spending time with other people, friends, family, but actually experiences. Something that doesn't really cost money is to go outside. I love to go into the forest. I love to actually, even be outside and see nature. It inspires me a lot. And honestly, it gives me a lot more than buying something else for the house, like decor. My house is almost perfectly like I want it to be. There's a lot of things I could change, of course, and there's always little things I want to tweak. But I always tell myself I'm so blessed because I have this house. And I'm so blessed because I bought this house for a price that's ridiculous 10 years ago. It has doubled at least in what it's worth now and what I could sell it for. And I'm so blessed because real estate prices have skyrocketed here in Germany, and it's insane. So I'm so blessed, and I always tell myself it's not that important to buy another rug or to buy another this and that. Instead, I actually focus more time on going outside, and it feels so good when you've been outside. You look at your home differently, just experiencing things outside the home by just running or working out or walking my dog, or just, even doing a little photo session. We did a photo session, Romy and me. We went outside. And I said, well, let's just take some nice pictures of you and me and maybe together. And that was just a fun experience. The next thing that has made frugal living so much fun for me is to really focus a lot of my time and effort on my personal health. I am such a nerd when it comes to anything related to eating, diet, well, not diet, like dieting, but like what I eat every day. And science and research about what can this herb do, what can that herb do, what can lifestyle choices do, how does yoga affect me, and what workout would be best on what day of my cycle, and how can I reduce stress. And I make a science of it all. I love reading studies. You can go to Google Scholar and you find a lot of studies that you can read for free. And even if it's only the summaries or the conclusions, that is so interesting to me to actually read studies. And the conclusions I always come up with, there's always a study on this side and on that side. So you kind of have to take everything with a grain of salt. Even studies aren't the non plus ultra, this is the truth. There's just a lot of room for interpretation when it comes to the human body. So the more I learn, the more in awe I am, and the more I believe, oh my goodness, how can there not be a God? Someone has made this. It is just unbelievable how this all works together. Everything in your body has a function, and everything communicates with everything else. And even, the sunlight and chlorophyll and what you eat, it all goes together, and your gut bacteria. It's fascinating. So this is a hobby of mine, but I think focusing your time and effort on your health, I don't know, it takes your mind off thinking that something else is going to make you happier. I think the thing that's going to make you the happiest in life is to focus on your own health. And I'm not just talking about physical health. I'm talking about both physical and mental health. When you have that, basically you're a happy human being. And that's, I want to try to be there as much as possible. We all have ailments every once in a while, or little things that happen. For me, it's never anything big. It might be my hip is hurting today, or I'm too sore, or something with my cycle isn't quite right. I'm not the youngest anymore. So those things, but really learning that it's not always perfect and it's not always the same. It is up and down, and there are differences, and some days are like this, and some days, sometimes I'm energetic and sometimes I'm not. But really feeling yourself, I think it's fascinating, and I think this has made frugal living fun because it doesn't take a lot. Really trying to live more like a human being was meant to live originally, a lot more outside. And I always get back to this, go outside, go into nature, because I feel that it's so good for me. And that's how a human being was supposed to live, is to be outside a lot and to actually do that contemplative kind of work of doing some gardening, or just focusing on something that is not hard, but something while you can think while you do it, like gardening or mowing the lawn or walking outside or collecting hazelnuts. We have had tons of hazelnuts in our yard, and the kids have collected tons of them. We have like this huge bowl full, and then we crack them, and that gives me so much energy. Okay, the next thing is, now we get to the more practical side of frugal living. Make a game out of it. Make little challenges. This is so cool for me personally, because I love giving myself challenges. I love giving myself this challenge of like eating absolutely zero sugar, which I don't really eat a lot of sugar at all. Very rarely do I eat anything with any added sugar, let alone with refined sugar. So sometimes I will add maybe some honey or maple syrup, but I make this challenge sometimes where I say, okay, 1 week or 1 month, zero sugar added. Not honey, not maple syrup, just whatever is in the food naturally. And also cutting out any white flour, which is practically sugar. Your body, it's like you eat it and it's transformed instantly into sugar, basically. That is fun. Or giving yourself a challenge about, decluttering something, like declutter 1 item every day, or do this 30-day declutter where you do day 1, you declutter 1 item, day 2, you declutter 2 items, and so on. So by day 30, you have to declutter 30 items. If you are still quite in the beginning of your decluttering journey, that is so cool and it's so freeing. I don't really have that much to declutter anymore, so I kind of do it I spot treat my decluttering areas, where I say, okay, like the kids' room just recently, I had to take out a lot of stuff because we changed Romy's room around, and so we got rid of a bunch of stuff that she's not really playing with anymore. So make a game out of it. And give yourself challenges that are limited in time or whatever, that give you a really clear goal. And it's really cool. That brings me to the next thing. What is really fun is to challenge yourself to do a no-spend week or month. You could do a no-spend year. That's really hard. I've never done it. But do a no-spend week or month. Meaning, you don't buy anything that you don't need to stay alive, right? So food and drinking, you need that to stay alive, but a new remote control you don't need to stay alive, or a new device you don't need to stay alive. You don't even need a new phone to stay alive. You probably get a used one that someone else has to give away. And there are Facebook groups where you can get stuff. I am in this Facebook group that is local, just for my town, and there's always people, and I've been putting a lot of stuff on there that I want to declutter, and I tell people, well, this is what I have. If someone wants to pick it up, you can just come and get it. PM me, and that's how you can get a lot of things that you may need. Or people will ask on there, does someone have, for example, does someone have like a chair? I need maybe an office chair. Does someone have one that they don't need anymore? And that's how you can connect with people. So it's very possible not to spend money for a while, only on the things that you need to keep yourself alive. The next thing that I think helps a lot to have more fun living frugally is when you tell yourself how much joy you get out of decluttering. And of course, decluttering means you don't buy anything. That is frugal. Just give yourself that image in your mind of what is my living room going to look like when it's completely decluttered? What does my kitchen look like when I open the drawers and everything is perfectly organized, just because there's a lot less stuff in there? When I go to like IKEA, for example, or anywhere where you can get items for the house, for the home. I don't know, a lot of people, they're inspired to buy stuff because they see how, like it's all set up beautifully and it makes them want the thing that they're seeing there because I want that in my home, then it's gonna look beautiful. I think the opposite. It makes me think, in order for my home to look that way, I'm gonna have to take out a lot of stuff. Because when things are on display, like in IKEA, that's quite minimalist. There's not a bunch of clutter in there. They just have some furniture and maybe a couple of decor items, but it's minimal. So every time I walk through there, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm not gonna buy anything because I need to go home now and declutter something. And really, I only go to IKEA very intentionally. I only go there if I actually need something very specific and I know I can get it there. And I just don't really buy much on impulse anymore. But just tell yourself how joyful you will feel if you don't spend that money on that thing that you then have to put somewhere, and then you have to declutter it one day, and then you're going to throw it away, and then you're going to hate that you spent money on it. The next thing that I found just makes me so happy living frugally is to open an investment account. Oh my goodness, I'm addicted. It's almost like, when you have a YouTube channel, you want to always watch the metrics. You want to see how you get more views or more subscribers. And it's the same with an investment account. Even if you just invest 10 or 20 bucks a month, it really adds up, and it's kind of crazy when you do this for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I love watching my investment accounts. So you can open investment accounts that allow you just to like little chunks of money into a fund or into some stock. Do your research and make sure you don't buy overpriced stock. I've read lots of books about investing and I feel I'm not a dummy. I feel I've done really well. And I love when I see something like my stock has increased by 150%. I mean, it's crazy. I've done so well. I don't know, maybe it's coincidence. I just read pretty much all the Warren Buffett books and it is addicting. It is so much fun. Also for Romy, I opened an investment account and I put just 40 euros in there every month. But it's so fun to see how it accumulates and how it has the returns. I always tell my daughter, the money gets babies. The money has babies. It's like you put 40 in there, but the 40 turn into 50 after a while. And it's so cool to see that your money just gets more. Of course, inflation, right? If I just put it in the savings account, it's just gonna get less and less valuable. So it is just so much fun to have an investment account and to watch that interest and the cumulative interest, how it gets more and more. I love it. And it motivates me so much to spend less money. I think in investments. When I buy something, I'm thinking, okay, this thing costs $100 or 100 euros. If I put 100 euros in the stock right here, after 2 years, how much could I make from that 100 euros? How much could I make in 10 years? And then I'm thinking, these 100 euros, it could cost me 1,000 euros if I count it for the next 10 years. What if I just don't spend it now and I put it in an investment and I have a great return? Even if I just put it in a very modest return kind of fund that maybe has 5-6%, even then, that is so worth it. And the last thing that I think is so much fun when you live frugally, and I've said it already, but I just want to make the point again, is go outside. There's a lot you can do outside, and it's free. It costs nothing. For entertainment, there's a lot you can do outside. Here where we live, we have several outdoor playgrounds. We have kind of those wildlife refuges where we can go and we can see the deer, we can see the hogs, we can see some of the animals. You can feed them also. There's a lot of things, even in the winter. If you live in a place where there's a really harsh winter, of course you can't go outside for hours and hours. Well, although it's really a matter of clothes, but if it's really, really cold, it's hard to go outside for hours and hours. I don't know, there's something about going outside in the cold and having fun and having had some light, although it may not be very bright sunlight, but it may be hidden behind the clouds. Today is a really cloudy and dark day here, and it has snowed a little bit. But I go outside, and then when I come back in, the home feels just so much cozier after having been outside. And so just going outside and spending time with your family, with your loved ones. Now during Corona, the safest place is outside, really, like in nature. You can go for a walk with a friend, have your distance, don't be close, and then you can walk. It's a safe place. It's the healthiest place to go outside. And so I think being outside isn't just healthy, but it's also healthy for your finances, because it's the most frugal thing you can do when it comes to activities. I work out outside a lot. I actually run, or I walk, or I actually just do exercises outside, because I think, you're going to sweat anyway. And so outside, it's really nice when it's cold outside, and then you break out a sweat. It's actually nice outside. It doesn't even feel cold anymore. So those are my ways that I found frugal living has been very much fun for me. And it seems the more money I make and the more money I save and the more I have when it comes to like finances, the less I want to spend. This is something I've seen, if you really have the mindset of a frugal person, and if you've been there on the very low point, when you then start making money, a lot of people who come from that background, they appreciate money so much more. And it's almost like, oh, now I made the money and now I have the money. No, I don't want to let it go. I like to keep it. It's like a baby. It's not because of what it can buy, but it's because of the cushion it gives you. It makes you sleep better. It makes you be more relaxed. Because if tomorrow something were to happen, I don't have to worry so much. I have this cushion and I fall softly. I land softly when something hits me financially. I'm not at the end, and I don't have to worry about losing my home anymore. I mean, I'm not rich by any standard, but I feel so much better now. And I just want to keep that money cushion. It feels good. And of course, it's not just money. You can invest into different things. I'm going to actually buy some gold and silver because I want to diversify, but that's a whole other video. I may make a video in the future about finances and investments. There's all these different ways. There's cryptocurrencies. And I've watched a lot of people, some say, well, this is the best way to invest. And some people say that is the best way to invest. It's like the health thing. You read the studies, you read the experts, but then you kind of have to come up with your own truth, what that means for you. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments, do you live a frugal life already, or do you want to try to live more frugally? Do you feel you spend too much, or do you feel you're in a great place? What are the things you need to work on to be more frugal, and what are the things that actually are fun for you when you live frugally? So let me know in the comments. I would be very interested. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're going to be back next time, and until then, keep it simple and have fun being frugal.